Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Chase. So today we are going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum. We'll take a look at ES. We'll talk a little bit about the state of the crypto market, some things that are going on like Friend Tech. Let's get right into it. So I'm bearish here on Bitcoin. Just going to be straight up with you guys right away. I'll tell you why. The way I see it, there was a pattern here, right? So we had this, the sort of bear market drop, right? This consolidation, sort of bottoming formation, and then we started doing this. We started pumping, sort of doing an upward consolidation, a little bit of a retracement, and then pumping again, okay? And that has played out a couple times now, so we'll just draw it out. Up, sideways, retrace, pump. So pump, sideways, retrace, pump. Pump, sideways, retrace, dump. Okay, so it's different, right? We have a bit of a context change here, a shift of character, whatever you want to say. We stopped going from pump, consolidate, retrace, pump to pump, consolidate, retrace, dump. It's changed. Okay, so the look of this, the overall context of this, how it's been acting has changed, okay? So that makes me bearish here. When I look at this, I look at these lows, which were taken here, but they weren't taken on tons of other exchanges, okay? Let's be clear that while this market did take a lot of liquidity, it did stop people out, etc., it's not uniform anywhere. So I don't think that this low really means that much. So there's a possibility that we just resweep this low. That is a possibility. But when I look at this, I think, well, if we're going to take these lows, why not take these lows too? So this is where my eye is at the moment. I'm thinking that we move down to the 23.8K liquidity. That's where I'm eyeing. I think that brings the market back into, uniformity, so to say, because right now we're just all over the place. We have some exchanges with a low at 26.2. We have some exchanges with a low in the 25s. Some exchanges with a low of this sweep, the 24.8. And we have some exchanges that even went into the 23s. So if we want to bring uniformity back to the market, with some of these exchanges that even went down into here, then we need to offer those prices, to everyone, in my opinion. Now, this could be cope, right? And maybe it's just, hey, some people get a good entry, some people don't. Luck of the draw wherever you're trading. But if that's how it's going to be, I mean, that's just complete dog shit. I think the reality here is that we saw a big lack of liquidity. I think the macro conditions are causing a lot of, your funds and your market makers, and you've heard about it, like Jump and Jane Street and these other, whatever they are, funds. I don't know if they're funds or whatnot, but you hear about them leaving crypto and pulling back on crypto. And then you get stuff like this. I mean, this is abnormal. Look at the F chart. Do you see any wick this big? This is something new. Something has changed. You don't see a wick like that anywhere. You don't see a wick like that here. You see a little wick here, a little one here. But where do you see a wick like this? Nowhere. So something new is happening in crypto. And in my opinion, it's of bearish context. So I think we're headed down into here. At that point, see what happens. Optimal trade here is to get above this high, but I don't even know if we have the strength to do it. And not only do we have the strength to do it, but we know that the market has not been giving these sweeps. I wanted to get short above here, right, on BTC. Wanted to get short, never got it. On Ethereum, wanted to get short right in here, during this consolidation. It wasn't down here, it wasn't later, it was right in here. I was just like, okay, all I want is a little sweep and I'm getting short. Didn't get it. And I wasn't going to play it all the way down to here, right? I was only going to play it down to here. But again, since we broke through these levels with such power, I could only be bearish on this. This was a weekly support. You have a weekly support here. And just nothing, just plowed right through it. So the way I see it, this is all bearish. Bitcoin bearish, Ethereum bearish. To add on to that, you have a pretty convincing looking top here on ES. and just overall, general traditional markets and whatnot are looking like they want continuation lower. I would say down into here looks about right on ES. Previous resistance here, flip into support, bit of a fair value gap in here. So that's how I see ES going. If you look at something like NQ, I think it's even more obvious. Yeah, you have these equal lows on NQ. Equal lows on NQ here into a weekly fair value gap. If we were to see a retest of this level, most likely a short into here. Those are some of the trades I'm watching at the moment. Okay, so back to Bitcoin. But yeah, like I was saying, I've been looking for these sweeps and we just haven't been getting them. Something has changed in this market. Something is weird. Let's put it that way. Okay, so optimal situation. We get a sweep up into 26.8ish, 27. Play that down into the 23s. I would first take profit at this low because it's these lows and this low. And on all exchanges, these lows are the same from previous times, right? In previous times, this low is the same. But nowadays, like I said, you have some prices stopping here, some prices stopping here, some prices stopping here. So at least a sweep of all this is something. A sweep of this is even more. That's where I would fully take profit and potentially even consider a scalp long off of this. So if we were into here, doing some consolidation, reclaim, could play it back to this area here, something along that nature, something like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm keeping an eye on for Bitcoin at the moment. I'm not concerned with what's going on in this intraday chop. I'll trade ES intraday. As always, if you're interested in trading ES, you could trade it under the ticker SP500 on Prime XBT. Prime XBT is the sponsor of these videos. We thank them for that and their support. They've been sponsoring me for 3 years or so. Yeah, thank you very much. My link is at the bottom. Okay, moving into, so sweep of this, sweep of this. There's really not much more to look out for here, guys. Do I think we're going all the way back down? Let me look. Weekly chart. Weekly chart looks like it wants at least like here-ish. Looks like it wants 21-ish. If we hold 21, maybe we have a decent rally. If not, yeah, I could see it going back down towards the lows and whatnot. So, but I go one level at a time, really, guys. So looking at 23 first, 23-ish, then looking towards like 21.8, and we'll see what happens from there. I think there's good confluence on this level. See, moves down here, resistance right there, resistance on all these candles, resistance here on the bodies, breaks down from here, support, candle close, origin of impulse. There's a lot going on around 21.7, 21.8K. All right, everybody get their sip in, and let's move forward. Ethereum doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Dug all the way into here. This level was actually sort of decent, to be honest, the way it held. I think it's even more apparent on the weekly chart. Yeah, it's not that bad, right? You got support here, closes above, moves up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you get in the middle of this block, maybe middle of 17s for a short, 17.35 for a short. Play it back down to the low. I mean, I don't see anything that's giving me any major draw on Ethereum, right? You have this low as a potential draw. I don't feel like these equal highs. I mean, they could be a draw if we were to reclaim, say, like this entire weekly block. So if we were to move back up above here, you could think that this was just some crazy deviation and move back up towards these highs. But I feel like that's very unlikely. It's not even something I'm really looking for. I'm just trying to pull something out of a hat here because I don't really have much for ETH. Yeah, I would be more focused on BTC at the moment. I don't see a lot going on here, to be honest. Okay, let's look at ES. Okay, ES. So like I said, high time frame target on ES, I believe. Let's just mark out this low here. We'll go through this all. High time frame target on ES here, I think, is sub 4,300. We're looking to get into this fair value gap. We're looking to sweep this low. We're looking to get near this prior resistance, flip support. Okay, as I've always said, when you look at these levels, just make sure we're recording. We are. When you look at these levels, there's a lot of ways to define them and clarify them. We could be looking at liquidity, looking at fair value gap, looking at SR. In my opinion, if you know how to figure out a good level, you know how to figure out a good level, and there's usually a lot of signs around that level. Okay. Nonetheless, let's move down. Let's just go from the top here, sort of like moving from the top down, so to say. So you had this consolidation, tried to hold this, resistance here, breaks out, tries to hold it as support many times, closes below, perfect retest. Gotta love that, right? Perfect retest. From there, comes down, sort of messes around with these previous highs here. We can probably find a better level, yeah. We can find a better level in the weekly here, something of like this nature. So the resistance before the move up here, I like those levels. We go back down, we could see perfect support here, closes down through. Look at the body close on this candle, respects it perfectly. Forms a supply here. Okay, so we can see an up move before this major down move begins. I don't think we should come all the way back up to this supply, so I don't really care about it. I'm just talking aloud. What I would do now is I'd be looking for continuation down into my high time frame target. And the question is, how do we get there? Well, I would look at this leg and I would say, okay, let me fib out this leg. There we go. Fib out the leg. I can look for, a daily, we got a daily fair value gap in here that correlates with, being above the 0.5, near the 618. Those are typical areas, if you want to be a seller of some type of a rally into a bearish trend, or vice versa into a bullish trend, you're looking to be a buyer, you typically want to look for that inside the, either the equilibrium right around the 0.5 or the 618. Okay, and if it was a long, and you're saying, so let's see, you put in a bottoming formation and you're looking to get in on the up move on the long, you take your fib, go from the bottom, reversed, okay, right in there would be your 0.5, 618, and that's where you're looking to get long typically. Come back, retrace, boom, little SR, something like that. Okay, so that's the opposite way. Okay, so looking in here, do we get it? I don't know, this market has been pretty down only, pretty bearish, but at the same time, you did sweep this liquidity. To me on the daily, this doesn't look like anything special. To me, honestly, it doesn't look like like some type of low that is a huge deal. Although I think on the weekly, it does make more sense. But yeah, it gave you what you wanted, right? If you were trying to long this, and you had a daily fair value gap here form, did it form after or before? Formed. Yeah, okay. So that you sort of got, if you did buy a sweep here, you could have played it back to this daily fair value gap, and you sort of got what you wanted. I think that's an okay trade. I didn't personally take it. Like I said, I didn't think there was a ton of significance to this low, but hey, it did provide a bounce. On the weekly, I should have checked the weekly. On the weekly, it made more sense. Nonetheless, I think, into the 5, into the equilibrium, into the 618, could look for a play down lower. I'm personally not a huge swing trader when it comes to ES. I prefer scalps and quick moves. I'd probably play it from here just to something local, and if it keeps going, I find another entry, etc. Okay, take a sip and then we'll talk. So, as I said, I think this overall move was pretty bearish. I'm disappointed in the market, to be honest with you. I thought that we would at least, get up into this gap here, into this 618 off the back of the, Black Rock and all that. And, unfortunately, it was sort of just like, it seemed like it was sheeps to the slaughter. Not for me. I mean, I didn't buy any spot in here or anything. Like I said, I had those tweets. People kept asking me about, when am I buying spot? When am I buying spot? I told them I'm not. Said, it ain't, the beginning of The Big Short, that quote, it ain't what you don't know that hurts you, it's what you know for show that just ain't so. And every single person was just saying how they're accumulating for the bull run, and how it's a guarantee and the halving, and I just don't think it's a guarantee. Now, don't get me wrong, if the ETF comes, we can probably blow a lot of this stuff out the window here. I wouldn't be surprised if we get into the high 30s, something of that nature to start, and see where we go from there. Maybe even higher. We'll have to see how that goes. I'd be bullish with the ETF approval, obviously. But without the approval, I'm not seeing too much bullish here anymore. And like I said, I'm sort of disappointed that it seems like people took the very, very, very first chance of technical selling. That's it right there, the equilibrium. You just barely touch it, and it dumps. So you didn't even get into the halfway point. You didn't get to the 618. You didn't get to anything. You just got the scraps, the bare minimum, and someone jumped at the opportunity to take a technical sell. So I don't like that. Not for any specific reason. I just think it's bearish. Yeah, not good. Bearish on crypto at the moment. Maybe we could talk about Friend Tech. It's sort of cool. All right, first couple days I didn't fully understand what was going on. I was nervous to connect it because of potential. They wanted you to link your phone and stuff, and I ended up using a burner and some other stuff, and it was all good. But the reality is, I mean, especially for my audience, I don't think my audience cares about this stuff as much. But I don't think I'm finding a ton of. First off, the app is just laggy, right? So, and what can you do with it? It doesn't seem like you can post charts. You can't voice chat with people. You can't post a video in it. So it's sort of what's the goal here? Is it just a paid group, but you only get 10% of the fees? Is it because I feel like people are starting to use it as a signal service and something and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fool too, because I said, 2 days ago or something, I said that I see the use of Friend Tech as getting closer to the creator, to chat with the creator, and day-to-day things and whatnot. And I guess I was living in a fantasy world, because I don't think anyone wants a OnlyFans for men from an emotional perspective, right? I'm certainly not posting any nudes, but I thought people were gonna actually just want to chat and hear about day-to-day shit, and I think I was pretty wrong. So that's somewhat funny. I sort of laugh looking back at that. Men want alpha or nothing. That's it. They want the signal, and I don't blame them. I can completely respect it. But yeah, that's not what I was gonna do with mine. I sort of just wanted it for chatting and whatnot. So what I did decide, since I was not going to talk about it on Twitter as much anymore, but at the same time, I don't want to do wrong by the people who bought the shares, right? So I set up a little Discord, and I'm going to do a one-time call with all the shareholders, and we'll do that I'll set a date and time within a couple days. So I'm not going to have a way for people to get involved in this outside of it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do a direct pay or anything. I'm not trying to do a paid group. All I wanted to do was just have something that was sort of fun, and a little Q&A and whatnot. But yeah, like I said, I don't think there's really a ton of interest in it. So if you did want to be a part of it and come in and ask me your 2 or 3 questions or whatever about your trading or whatever, you can go to the Friend Tech app and buy one of my shares and just chill, and just send me a DM on Twitter with proof of your share or whatever, and I'll send you the Discord. Again, it's just going to be a one-time call. We're going to chat it out, a bunch of people in there. hang out a bit, and I'll try to provide some value back that way. I think that's the best play moving forward because, like I said, I'm not going to turn it into a signal group or something. That's not what I want to do. If I was ever going to do a paid group, I'd do it the right way. And you can't even really post anything in there, right? Like you might be trying to post a signal and the thing's lagging out. So hopefully they make it better over time. But if you were actually going to do a group or something, you use Discord or you use Telegram or something. You don't use this thing. Anyway, if you did jump in, I appreciate your support, of course. And I will try to make the call fruitful and give some good advice or thoughts or whatever to people who are jumping in with me. All right, thanks as always, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.